with the main Chip Washington. It's real talk. Man, it's real talk with your main Chip Washington. When it comes to information, the main got an arsenal. Bring you up to speed with what you need. He's the local and nationwide news feed. Let's talk about it. Dialect to do something about it. Chip got the flow wide open if you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings you to your raw. To solve all problems, it starts with real talk. Real talk. It's 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 real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
Good to be with you on this Monday evening. We are back. We are live, and we are fired up and ready to go on this edition of Real Talk Memphis. I am your humble host. My name is Chip Washington. It is good to be here. It's good to see you all out there. Well, I can't see you, but it's good to have you all out there if you are as well. Sit back and relax for the next 60 minutes. We're going to have a great show for you tonight. Everybody's back. Lola was on vacation last week, and she spent some time on a remote island, and she just said it was just absolutely fabulous. She just had an absolutely amazing time, and that's always good when that happens. Bren was doing some duty at the festival. What was it called? The River Beat Festival here. Yeah, so he had a good time out there as well. So everybody's back in pocket, and fired up and ready to go, and we hope you are too. First and foremost, I hope that all you mothers had a wonderful Mother's Day. Not only yesterday, of course, but the entire weekend. I hope you were treated lovely, and I hope you had a good time and everybody took care. It's always good to take care of mom, no doubt about that. And also, I want to say at the top, congratulations to the class of 2024. Whether it's high school, elementary school, high school, college, a lot of graduation ceremonies over the weekend, especially here as well. And congratulations to the class of 2024. Make us proud. That's all I have to say. Make us proud as you continue your journey onward and upward. Of course, if you don't know, there are many ways to get this fine piece of radio broadcasting. The first way, of course, is live on the radio. 91.7 WYXR is the station. You can pick us up live there. You can also find us on the WYXR app. We are on the TuneIn app. We are on, we're going to be live streaming tonight on Facebook Live. So if that's your thing, you can check us out there. And when the show posts in the next day or so, you can find us on YouTube as well as, your podcast platform. Wherever you get your podcast, that is where you can find Real Talk Memphis with Chip. Okay, and we hope you check us out in terms of all of that. So now that we got that out of the way, we have a good show for you tonight. Some folks that will provide some interesting information for us all. First guest in just a few minutes. Her name is Alicia Denton. Alicia works for the Memphis Police Department, and she is a victim's advocate. Now, many of you may be wondering what that is. Actually, it is. She's one of the first in that position in the country. We had her on about a year ago to talk about this, and we brought her back again tonight. Mental illness is still a very, very big issue in our communities, not only here but across the country. And she's going to talk a little bit about what she does with victims, particularly in traumatic situations. So stick around for that. A little bit later on, we will have Shelby County Sheriff Floyd Bonner Jr. He will be joining us, of course, to talk about what is happening in the world of the Sheriff's Department. Of course, he wants a new jail. We've heard some incidents that happened in the jail and a lot of other things going on out there as well. So we'll talk with him, get caught up with what is going on with the Sheriff's Office. And in the second half hour, we will speak to Reverend Dr. Bartholomew Orr. He is the senior pastor of Brown Baptist Church, and he is going to join us to talk about a very important event the church is hosting this coming weekend. It has a lot to do with security and safety, and you want to stay tuned for that. So that's the lineup tonight. We have a good program. We hope, I guess, as I said earlier, that you stick with us, you stay with us, and hopefully you will learn something before this evening is out. But right now, we're going to learn who's celebrating some birthdays today, and I'm sure if you had a birthday over the weekend or today or this week, this is your time of the broadcast. This is where we do that thing we like to call a shout-out. We can't do that unless we say, hit it, Bren.
Happy birthday!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Happy birthday. Happy birthdays. Not too many tonight. Going out to the following folks. Cynthia Denise Spearman. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Tina Franklin. Sam Rankin celebrating a birthday today, as is Crystal Oliver Thomas. And an early birthday. Oh, Lola's stepping up to the mic, but an early birthday to my niece, Lydia Fields, celebrating her birthday tomorrow. That is my niece, Lola.
And happy birthday to Miss Chandra Smith, who I celebrated in Antigua. And also on Miss Candace Baker Moore, whose birthday is today. Happy birthday, Candace.
Happy birthday, ladies. Antigua, ladies and gentlemen. That's where Lola was. And yes, had a lovely, lovely time indeed. Thank you, Brand. We appreciate it. We hope that you all had a wonderful day, and we wish you nothing but love and laughter. We'll be back, hopefully next year, if the Lord says so, to celebrate your next trip around the sun. All right, so let's take a brief look at some news and notes. Right off the top, earlier today, we had a student at Raleigh Egypt High School decide that that he wanted to start his day off by creating a bad situation for another individual. The school surveillance team noticed a backpack that was sitting aside a dumpster on school grounds. When they investigated that backpack, they found not one, not two, but 3 loaded weapons with ammo in this backpack. Come to find out, when they identified the student, who was a student at this school, he admitted that it was his backpack. And why did he have it? And why did he have loaded weapons in it? Well, he and another friend were going to plan to rob another one of their high school classmates later on that afternoon. Needless to say, that didn't happen. He has been removed from the school, and he is now in juvenile court. Man, I tell you. Many of you are aware by now that Shelby County Clerk Wanda Halbert, who's been under investigation and a lot of pressure for quite some time, ouster proceedings have begun formally by the state, and a date. Yet that's true, and a date has been set by the state for the first hearing in suspending/removing her from office, and that court date is May 31st. That is the date of the status hearing, citing, of course, by those investigating her willful neglect to perform her duties as outlined. On her behalf, Wanda Halbert has stated for quite some time, she asked for an initial audit when she walked into this position some years ago, and has never been granted that audit. She maintains that there are some maldoings, there's some malfeasance going on within county government, even on the financial side as well. She will have a chance to go into all of this in this court hearing. This is an unprecedented situation. I don't know that I can ever remember, a duly elected official, being put on the table like this. I mean, this is the state, so this is not something that you put on and you can take off. I mean, they want her out of this office, period. And they're trying to do everything they can to make that happen. We will keep a very close eye on this situation, and we will follow it. You can bet on that. This afternoon, Memphis and Shelby County School Superintendent Dr. Marie Fagans says that the district will not, I repeat, will not authorize staff members to carry guns on campus. You know that ridiculous law that the state legislature passed earlier, a couple of weeks back, saying that school districts, any school district within the state of Tennessee, can and are authorized to allow students not students, but teachers to come on campus with concealed weapons. Nobody knows about that. Nobody would have to know about that, but they would be concealed weapons. The only people that would know would be the principal. And of course, they'd have to undergo some training, of course, gun training and some psychological testing and the whole nine. The dumbest thing I've ever heard. And to this point, I don't know any municipality within the state of Tennessee that has said, yeah, come on, teachers, come on, arm yourselves, come on campus and see how that is. I don't know that anybody publicly would announce that anyway. But you just need to know here in Memphis and Shelby County. And I do believe several of the suburban schools have all said, no thanks, we'll pass. We're not doing that. Bringing loaded guns and weapons on campus for the teachers. But she decided this afternoon, and she made it very clear that the district will not authorize staff members to carry guns on campus. That wraps up the news and notes version of things on this Monday evening. It's good to have you all here, wherever you all are. If you all, however you get this broadcast, wherever you are out there, we appreciate you at the very, very top. We're going to take our first break of the night, and when we come back, we're going to get into the broadcast on this. Yeah, it's a bit dismal outside, a bit gloomy, and we are expecting some rain and thunderstorms later on tonight, maybe during the overnight hours as well. So I don't know how well you all sleep and stuff like that, but I have a dog, and he never sleeps when that thunder roars. Anyway, that's my issue. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. Don't go anywhere.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
Support for WYXR comes from Freedom Preparatory Academy. Since 2009, Freedom Prep has been preparing students from pre-K to 12th grade to succeed in college and in life, with 5 schools in Westwood and Whitehaven. Now enrolling for the 2024-2025 school year. More information on enrollment at freedomprep.org.
Programming on WYXR is brought to you by a grant from Arts Memphis, who has been working behind the scenes for 60 years to support and amplify arts events, programs, and experiences that together make a more vibrant and accessible Memphis arts scene.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you. Very happy to be here on this day. And happy to have you out there with us as well. Now, my first guest tonight is someone who, she actually was on the show about a year or so ago. She is someone who has a particularly sensitive position. And I think what she does is it's yeoman's work. It's God's work, but it's really tough. She is an MPD, Memphis Police Department, victims advocate, and we'll explain what that is in just a minute, but a formal introduction to Alicia Denton. And Alicia, it's great to see you again, my friend. How are you?
Hi, Chip. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. We appreciate it as always. She told me during the break that it has been a Monday, And yeah, it's been another tough weekend in our city. Unfortunately, we tend to be kind of used to that these days around here. But Alicia, for our listeners, tell them exactly what your job duties are, your job title is, and what your job function is.
Okay. So within MPD, I'm the victim services supervisor. And in that unit, we have, it's an all civilian unit composed of myself, the supervisor, as well as 2 victim specialists. And we are basically housed in homicide. And the reason being that we're in homicide and we're working with those family members and next of kin of the victims is because this originally started as a grant in 2020 through the Office of Victims of Crime. And at the time, and unfortunately still is, that homicide was so prevalent and the numbers were so high. So that's where Memphis wanted to focus first on providing services for those families that so desperately needed that. And in this capacity, what we do is we provide, I say, the immediate response, meaning when there's a homicide that occurs, we can go on the scene with the investigators so that they can focus on the investigating, and we focus on the family members and trying to console them and stabilize them because we're meeting them at probably one of the worst days of their lives.
Sure.
So we're providing the immediate, and we refer out for the wraparound services. And what I mean by that is we make referrals for grief counseling to people we've partnered with, like the Crime Victim Center, Baptist Camp Good Grief for the children, Camp Braveheart. And we pretty much do whatever we need to do emotionally, physically, financially for those families. We also help them with victims' compensation. And what that looks like in the state of Tennessee, if there's a victim of a crime, they can be reimbursed. And how that relates to us in our unit with working with secondary homicide victims is if they can get up to $6,000 in reimbursement for funeral and burial expenses. So we help the families fill that paperwork out. Now, actually, in the state of Tennessee, you can get up to $32,000 depending on organization.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And but again, I don't want this to be lost on our audience here. What you do is you show up at a scene where there has been a terrible tragedy committed and loss of life involved in that, and try to comfort family members who are just finding out about this news. It has got to be just a extraordinarily emotional thing. Now, am I correct in saying that when we talked the last time, is this the first law enforcement agency in this country to have something like a position like yours? Am I right in that?
So MPD I guess this is the first of its kind that MPD has implemented.
Ever.
Now, there's other law enforcement-based victim services, but however, MPD, our victim service unit, has been used as the model for those others. So that's what makes us unique because of the work that we've done here. Because keep in mind, there was no blueprint when I came. And so I had to build this program from scratch. Every document or how the procedures would look, processes and everything. So this is the model that's been used for others to pattern, and that others reach out to me and even, come to me for, how do you get this going? How can we do this in our city? This
is a pretty big deal, to be honest with you. And if I might, at the top brag a little bit, she was just awarded by MPD the Civilian Officer of the Year award for her work and her efforts on behalf of this victim services unit. So congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you, Chip. Yeah, I did receive the Civilian Supervisor of the Year award. I guess it was a couple of weeks now. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
Now, back to what it is that you do. Now, clearly we're dealing with raw emotion here in situations like this, in terrible tragedies like this. What type of training or preparation goes into being able to provide the comfort and information that you need to on scenes like this with your folks?
That's a great question. So it takes definitely some specialized skill sets in order to work in this capacity, myself and my team. And what that looks like, from my background, I've had 20 years of experience in trauma, actually, working with trauma and certifications in working through different treatment modalities for victims that have been facing trauma. And so myself, along with my other two victim specialists, we each have our own unique niche within this realm, which is in the social services realm. So we all either have backgrounds in counseling, social work, and what's another, sociology. So those are our backgrounds. Yeah, and yeah.
So those are the basic qualifiers for all of this. And would you say there's an average of a number of calls that you all say in a typical 7 days a week situation, or however it is per shift that you all go on? Are there quite a few? Would it be fair to say that you respond to quite a few scenes in and around the city?
I would say, and we're like, again, we're in homicide, so right now,
right?
But unfortunately, we're here because we have an alarming number. I guess that's the way I can answer it.
Yeah.
So now we don't necessarily make every scene. No, we don't do that. But we are capable of making ones, and it's also predicated on the directive of our top brass and our command staff on which scenes that we go out to, and because there's a lot of factors that are in place to determine which ones that my unit would go out to. So with that said, it can vary, unfortunately. And then the other thing about this capacity too, Chip, being in this role, we never know what each day is going to look like.
Right.
I could come in here and have one plan to do something or paperwork or do something with my team, and then next thing you know, we get a call and all that goes out of the window. So we have to be like the tree that bends. We have to be flexible here.
Yeah. That is, I think about, just the task at hand from you and your team. But I always want to look a little. I want to take it another step deeper and find out, how it is that when you all have worked at particular. Now you all are experts in what you do, but when you've worked a particularly tough scene, how do you all help each other? How do you all recover? Because you may be specialized in this, but you're a human being first, and you have feelings and emotions like anybody else. So how do you help keep each other going, doing what you do?
Absolutely. So one of the things that I do in my capacity as the supervisor, because with the two victim specialists, because what we're dealing with trauma. It's a heaviness, that we're working with. And one of my victim specialists always say, well, we're built for this. Yeah, like you said, we may be, but still we're human.
Sure.
So I emphasize self-care, as well. So we've got to take care of each other. And also one of the things I tell them, we keep a toolbox, a coping toolbox here. So in that toolbox are things, it could be whatever, journaling, it could be stress balls, but we have to have, there's something. And sometimes I tell them, let's unplug for a little while, don't watch news tonight, get off social media, but you have to unplug in this capacity because our overall health is important, because we can't help families if we're down or we're mentally not prepared to do this job. Absolutely not.
Now, if I remember correctly, you're about to start an outside. You have a brick and mortar type service that you're about to provide. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I am my other hat. I am a licensed psychotherapist. So I'm starting my practice into Minds Counseling and Consulting, and within that, my specializations, of course, will be trauma, as well as depression, anxiety, grief and loss, relational challenges, anger management, and providing those for both children, adolescents, and adults as well, is what I would be doing, and providing individual counseling, group counseling, and also, like I said, trauma therapy as well. And a big part too of what I'd like to do within my practice is I'm going to create partnerships with churches. I think that's important.
Yes,
Being a
yes.
faith-based practice owner is what I call myself.
Right.
Reaching out to the pastors and saying, "Hey, how can I help your congregation?"
Yeah, yeah. How big a problem is that in terms of what you laid out in terms of your specialty, being a psychotherapist? I mean, how big an issue is this? Because a lot of things that people deal with and go through, we don't hear a lot about, but we're starting to hear more about it. So, I mean, I guess it's because there is there an increase in cases, which is why you decided that this might be the time for you to step out and do this?
Well, no, that's not necessarily the only reason, but yes, it is. And it's just amazing the timing of all of this that's going on in my life right now.
Right. And
it being in the role that I'm in with MPD. And it's always been geared toward this, it's been geared toward that. It's just taken, I've taken my time doing it, as well as being a PhD candidate as well.
Yeah.
So, but this just happened to come before that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all of this has been in the works for a while. So I'm just thankful. And it just happens to be now. This is my time that I finished all the requirements that I needed toward licensure. And it couldn't have come at a better time because, like you said, it's much needed. We're talking about it because there's such huge stigma as it relates to mental health.
There still is. In terms of mental health. It's getting better, but mental health is a huge problem in this country, as we all know. Is May Mental Health Awareness Month?
Yes, May is mental health.
I did get that right. Okay, I was hoping I got that right. But so this really is the time for people. And I'm going back for a second to what you mentioned about working with the faith-based community and working with churches. A big part of a pastor's job is to help comfort families and teach us how to cope with each other better than the whole 9 yards. So this is really for you. This is your ministry, is it not?
It's funny you said that, and I know he's listening. He being my pastor, he said the same thing. He said, "This is really a ministry, Alicia, that you're doing."
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it in fact is a ministry, and I'm glad that I'm blessed to be able to provide this. Because there are people hurting in our city, Chip, as you know.
Yes.
They're hurting tremendously, and I want to be a part of their healing and their recovery the best way I can.
Well, what you do is God's work, as far as I'm concerned. It is a ministry, and it is a blessing, and I'm really very happy for you, and I'm proud of you. In the 1 year since we've communicated, so much going on in your world. I know you'll be extraordinarily successful. I want to thank you for what you do for our community, and I also want to thank you for coming on the show tonight and talking a little bit about this. I really appreciate it. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed it. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. There. We'll talk again down the road. In the meantime, you be safe and you be careful out there, okay?
Thank you, Chip. You too. Take care.
Yes, ma'am. Alicia Denton, ladies and gentlemen. There are a lot of folks with a lot of needs, and a lot of folks need help. And we need professionals like her to be able to provide that type of help that so many of us need. Great to have her on the broadcast tonight. We're going to take another break. And when we come back, we're going to shift gears, and we're going to talk to the man who leads the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. He is Sheriff Floyd Bonner. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. You know who you are. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page, and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
Support for WYXR, including our 2024 stereo sessions, comes from VIA Productions. Founded in 2003, VIA specializes in audience engagement, creating all types of video and audio content ranging from animation to documentaries. More information on how VIA can bring your brand story to life at viaproductions.co.
Hey, I'm Amy, host of Sonosphere on Monday at 4 p.m., and you're listening to WYXR 91.7 FM Memphis. I'm here today to ask you to further your impact with the station with the city's soul by joining the ranks as a WYXR mid-level donor today. Join us in championing a more inclusive and informed world through the transformative power of the community radio. Visit midlevel.wyxr.org to become a mid-level donor at WYXR, where your investment paves the way for a brighter and more connected future. Mid-level donors enjoy exclusive benefits such as on-air acknowledgments, VIP passes to Raised by Soundfest, and the opportunity to step into the role of a guest DJ. More information about mid-level donations can be found at midlevel.wyxr.org.
Connect with Memphis on WYXR. We offer sponsorship opportunities that expose your brand to our loyal listeners who value local arts, culture, and music. Support public radio and be part of our community. Explore more at wyxr.org/sponsorship.
Church House Memphis Plan continues its decades-long commitment to serving local musicians with comprehensive health care and also tailors its focus to small business owners and the self-employed. Health care through the Memphis Plan provides care in Memphis for Memphians. Related services include preventative health, optometry, dental care, and more. More information regarding availability at memphisplan.org or at 901-272-PLAN. Programming on WYXR is brought to you by a grant from the FedEx Arts Program, providing grants to arts-focused organizations to strengthen the Memphis community through the arts and in alignment with FedEx's charitable priorities of access and stabilization.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening in the city. Chip with you. We are awaiting Sheriff Floyd Bonner, Shelby County Sheriff Floyd Bonner. We see he's trying to hook in, connect in, and hopefully he'll get all this thing figured out here in just a minute or two. Is that him again? Let's see. Okay, so he's trying to log in one more time. So hopefully he'll be with us in just a minute. But back to that first interview with Alicia Denton. If you missed that, of course, we're live streaming the show, of course, and we're a podcast. You can hear it in a couple of days. But I mean, to be a victims service advocate and to go out to crime scenes, homicide scenes. She works there. They work with the homicide division, so there's a death involved here, and to be able to go out and talk to family members, deal with family members who have suffered a tremendous and in many cases unexpected loss is a very big deal. And as she said before, that program, that MPD program, is a model for programs across the country. Many law enforcement agencies have reached out to MPD wanting to find out how they do what they do, how they can set something like that up. That's because when you think about all of the tragedy that we see in and around our city, we certainly need someone to be able to help us. And she also said that there was some financial benefit to all of this in terms of trying to plan a funeral or a memorial for a lost loved one. And I'm sure you could probably call MPD to get more information in reference to that. Again, still efforting Sheriff Floyd Bonner to see if he's going to be able to join us tonight. The Shelby County Sheriff's Office, like many places in this city, are having some struggles. One of those struggles is the number of officers on their force, in particular in the Shelby County Jail down at 201 Poplar. Last I think I remember, somewhere in the vicinity, I think he said he needed about 300 to 400 corrections deputies down there to fill a gap. Is he joining me by phone? Sheriff, are you there?
Yeah, I am, Chip. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties I've been experiencing.
That's all right, my friend, but that's okay. We can hear you, and that's a good thing. I'm glad you can make it to the show. I looked at the visual there. I saw the office. I'm like, well, I know the office. I know that's his office, but it's dark. So I was just trying to figure out where you were. But in any event,
What I think I did was I should have went in not through my desktop, but through my remote, through my Surface Pro, because I'm on my Surface Pro now.
Okay.
And so what you're seeing is my empty, dark office.
Yes, exactly. I've been in that office more than a few times back in the day. But listen, it's great to have you on the show. And because we hadn't talked with you in a while, but of course, challenges abound like everything and everywhere. And of course, one of the challenges that you face, among many, are a deteriorating jail. And you have been, for a while, advocating building a new jail. Tell us about that and how it has caused you a bit of stress in terms of the existing facility.
Yeah, Chip, and thank you for having me. And again, I apologize to your listeners.
Not a problem.
For the technical difficulties. But yeah, one of the things that people have to realize is that jail is over 40 years old, 42, 43 years old. And 1 year of jail is just like 4 years in a home. So if you add up the numbers, our jail is actually probably, over 100 years old. And, with all the mechanisms and the lockings and things that go on, and then there's the personnel challenge. COVID really set everyone back. And so we're coming out of COVID and we're doing all we can to close the gap, if you will, a little under needing almost 400 correction officers. And so it's been a challenge. We've hired marketing firms to assist us. But those detainees, they're taking that jail apart, man. And, brick and mortar just wears out.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're having a hard time, maintaining or the maintenance of the building. I think just next year alone, we'll probably spend at least $3 million or more just routine maintenance. I'm talking about pipes that need to be replaced, showers that need to be replaced. You realize how many detainees come through that jail. So, the building never gets a rest, if you will. So we're kind of in dire straits right now.
So I know that I think I read something or heard something from County Mayor Lee Harris about understanding that this need is, as you said, rather dire. In terms of this, is the county commission paying attention? Is there any effort underway, or will there be at some particular point sooner rather than later to be able to address this situation, because it is dire, as you say?
Well, as you say, the county commission did give us some money to begin another jail study. The last jail study was done in 2007. And so we're going to initiate a study this year, hopefully, and hopefully we'll get the results back this year, and then to be able to start talking about it, putting in a capital improvement project, putting it in the county's capital improvement project, CIP, and hopefully we move forward with at least started talking about it. Chip, I'm honest with myself. I'm not going to see it during my tenure as sheriff, and I understand that.
Right.
But I would be just remiss if I did not know in the condition of that building, whoever the next sheriff is, to have to deal with a decaying building. And we've been fortunate that we've been able to pass our state requirements and everything, but every time that we get a knock, we're passing in the 90s, 95 percentile But every time we take a hit on it, the correction is because of the building. It's because of the decaying of the building.
Yeah.
So, we've got to do something sooner or later. And I just hope that the county commission will listen, the county mayor will listen, and then we can begin to have some serious talks about building a new structure.
Another facility you oversee is the juvenile court. And I mean, in terms of the detainees and things like that, of course, we all know that too has been found to be deficient in many ways to the point that it too is closed now. Asbestos, lead, and other things going on, and that has caused a tremendous upheaval. It seems of late there have really been a lot of. Go ahead, Sheriff. Go ahead.
Well, the building, the youth are no longer in the building on Adams.
Right.
That is a serious problem, for county. I don't know, it doesn't pertain to me per se. So I don't know a whole lot of knowledge. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge about it. Mm-hmm. But we have the youth down on Old Getwell at the Youth Justice and Education Center, and we're doing well down there. Your listeners may know that the Shelby County Sheriff's Office had told Judge Sugarman back, I think it was December the 14th, that we were going to lead the detention part of it.
Right.
And I'd like to explain that just a little bit.
Go ahead.
I have 68 correction officers that are down there at the youth detention center. Mm-hmm. And, being 400 officers short down at the main jail, I need those officers back down at 201. Now, I gave Judge Sugarman notice back December the 14th, I think it was, where I sent him an email expressing that we were going to leave in December of 24.
Okay.
One full year.
Mm-hmm.
That we would leave. And I'm not contractually obligated to stay there. There's no signed memorandum of understanding. There's no state law that says that the sheriff must provide detention services for juvenile court. So I think some of the things that have gone or that's been said in public is not quite been or reported. Let me say it like that. Some of the things that were reported was not quite accurate. Mm-hmm. It's not that I all of a sudden woke up one morning and said, you know what, I'm going to leave juvenile court. But we're proposing, we have a transition team ready to go with juvenile court. We're proposing to give them half the money back that was given, and I say half because the budget cycle starts in July.
Right.
And so we're saying until December. So we would give them what money's left over when we leave in December or the beginning of January. We would give them money to hire staff and to run the facility, the detention piece in the facility. So it's not that we did not give the court ample time to make arrangements. Like I said, we have a transition team in place ready to go. When we took over detention in 2015, it was done by the former sheriff, Bill Oldham, and the former judge, Dan Michaels.
Right.
And it was done on a handshake. It wasn't any kind of formal agreement, document signed or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And I know because I was a part of the, sheriff's office during that time.
Right.
So I know that to be true.
Yeah.
So, again, we took it over it took us 6 months or less to do it, and it can be done, but I'm hoping that the courts will come to the table and let's start discussing the transition for detention for the youth down there.
Let me ask you one final question. We are in budget season, as we all know, and of course, as you mentioned, the new budget takes effect July 1st. In terms of the budget that you submitted to the county commission for consideration, are you feeling pretty good about your ask and what you think you're going to get this new fiscal season?
No, I'm not, Chip. It's strange that you asked me that. I was in I was in meetings this afternoon with my chief administrative officer, and I'm very concerned about what's going on with our budget, where the mayor has in his budget is basically deleting 441 positions.
Oh, goodness.
From the sheriff's office.
Oh, goodness.
Now, I don't know how, when we talk about public safety, you talk about deleting 441 positions, and public safety is on the forefront of everyone's talk. I mean, just look at the news. I'm sure you talk a great deal about crime that goes on here in Memphis. Mm-hmm. So we don't quite have all the answers to the questions yet that we're proposing. I go at my chief administrative officer. I say I will, but I'll be with her. But my chief administrative officer, we go Wednesday, and only get 5 minutes, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
And I understand, time is of the essence, but when you're talking about taking a hit, a reduction in positions like we're talking about, I think it should be a little bit more than just 5 minutes, a little quick conversation. So with that being said, we're hoping that, we don't have to, we're just hoping we're going to have an opportunity to get back at the table with the commissioners, because I don't think that commissioners would want to see 441 positions taken from the sheriff's office.
Yeah,
so,
that's a big deal. That's a big deal. That's a very big deal.
That's pretty drastic.
Yeah, it is.
For our, and us being the largest agent, office within county government. I have not talked to the mayor. My CAO has been talking to his finance people, and emails are going back and forth and so on and so forth.
Sure.
But I just don't believe the county commission would sign off on a 441 position cut from the sheriff's office.
That's a big deal. Listen, Sheriff Bonner, we got to run, but thank you so much, man, for coming on the show. And you made a little news with that tonight, in terms of where things stand. I know it's a challenging time for you. We wish you nothing but the best, of course, moving forward. Safety first always, my friend. And thanks for being with us tonight. And I look forward to talking to you down the road.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks again. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Sheriff Floyd Bonner, yes, sir. Thank you, Sheriff Floyd Bonner, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, he made a little bit of news there in terms of the budget, saying they're going to be about 400 and plus officers light taken off the force here from the county commission in terms of the budget. That's a very big deal. Listen, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue on this Monday edition of Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest? Or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Support for WYXR comes from the Orpheum Theater Group, presenting Musical Theater Intensive, a new 2-week summer training where students will be immersed in a world of Cole Porter's musical comedy, Kiss Me Kate. Students considering auditioning for college theater programs or pursuing careers in musical theater are encouraged to apply. Applications are due May 14th. More information at orpheum-memphis.com/camps.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you. And You know, we were talking safety a minute ago with Sheriff Floyd Bonner, and we're going to continue that theme. Brown Missionary Baptist Church in South Haven has always been a church who leads from the front. And that sounds redundant. I mean, they plan for things way ahead of things that we may not be thinking about. And talking about safety, there is an increase in violent activity in churches and synagogues and places of worship all across this country. And Brown is hosting a very special conference, and I love the title. It's called Protecting the Flock, Security and Safety Conference. And here to talk a little bit about that is the senior pastor of that fine church, Reverend Dr. Bartholomew Orr. And Reverend Orr, it's great to see you again, my friend. How are you tonight?
Hi, I'm doing great, Chip. Always good to see you and appreciate all the great work you do.
Thank you, sir. So listen, in talking about what we were talking about the violent aspect of things, now you all really started your security team, I think I was talking to one of your folks beforehand, many years ago, even before we started hearing these conversations. And I always wondered why you started so far ahead. Did you see a trend starting to develop? What was the reason behind that?
Well, I appreciate our executive pastor, Pastor Derek Anderson, he is in law enforcement. And so he's been always at the forefront of making sure that we think safety, that we think about the ways the church can come alongside and make sure that we can minister to people regardless of whatever comes our way. So years ago, we started what we call our ERT, our Emergency Response Team, which is a critical team of doctors, nurses, law enforcement, security. So you get the whole mixed there, just in case whatever goes down, we are there ready to respond.
We have seen, and I don't know if you heard today, apparently, and I missed the story on the news, but they talked about it tonight, about a young man who walked into a church, I think it was over the weekend, where there were 60 or 70 young people in there. He walked in and he had a gun, and apparently he was looking to do some damage, but they stopped him at the door before he was able to get in. We saw an incident at a small church in Pittsburgh about a week or two ago where a black gentleman walked in, aimed a gun at the pastor, and guy jumped in, and that gun did not fire. But again, when you see things like this and you hear about what we hear about on a now fairly regular basis, it has got to really maybe concern you a little bit, doesn't it? As to where things are.
It really does concern us, and that is why, as the church, we have to be at the forefront of educating our people, informing them on what to do, what techniques they can use, the tools that are at their disposal to make sure that they're keeping themselves and the church safe. You know, we're thankful. The other week, we actually had a handguns class for women where we were talking about just all things protection from a lady's point of view, and really getting ladies acclimated to the different things that they need to do in order to keep themselves safe.
What type of things can people learn from this conference? You have a rather esteemed panel of individual security experts in various areas and various fields that are going to be participating in this. But what can folks learn? What do you hope they learn from this?
Well, I'm hoping, first of all, that they would learn just the basic techniques, because we're going to have individuals there, not only just expert consultants, but we're going to have people that have actually been in these situations where they have had to stop gunmen or stop acts of violence from taking place in the church. Our own Tony Armstrong, former Memphis police director, is on the panel. And Tony, of course, with all of his years, not only with the police department, but even now as he heads at the hospital. So you got great wisdom there. Ed Stanton brings a wealth of information in terms of just from the federal standpoint, especially as our former U.S. Attorney General. But we also have Stephen Wilford, who disrupted the mass murder in his small town First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs. And so you're going to be learning from the experts, people that have been there, tools, techniques, everything that the church can do to prepare ourselves for whatever is coming down the pipe.
Couple of minutes left here, but I really want to get your take on, I mean, what concerns you the most about the pattern that we seem to be seeing across this country? We know mental illness is a part of all of this, but there seems to be a genuine, almost a hatred now between religious sects and religious communities, anti-Semitism, attacks on races all across this country. When you see that as a pastor and you survey the landscape, what goes through your mind?
Well, Chip, unfortunately, we have lost, if I had to sum it up in just one word, first of all, just respect. We don't have respect anymore. Respect for authority, respect for laws, respect for human beings. We have just simply lost decent common sense when it comes to just respecting one another. It used to be a time where people would at least respect law enforcement. We respected our elders, and yet all of that seems to be going away in this culture that we find ourselves in. And so when you have that level of disrespect coming in, you're going to see it lead into hatred, racism, prejudice, all that we see, where people have no regard of not only people, but even institutions anymore.
Did you ever think that you would see a day when even a place so holy as an unholy ground as a sanctuary or church would be attacked in such a violent way as we're seeing today?
You know, it never would have. I never would have imagined that we are seeing the level of attacks and violence that we're seeing in church, right in our own backyard there in Memphis. A pastor comes out and stopping, someone from robbing a car and actually is shot. When I was coming up, if a preacher walked down the street, and even if the children were playing marbles, they stopped playing marbles and waited until the preacher passed by. Or if somebody was gambling or drinking, they would actually stop gambling, stop drinking, put it up, hide it, just so that the pastor wouldn't see it. And we have gone from that level of just at least a respect for authority and for those that are in charge, to now a total disrespect. And it is mind-blowing. And that is the reason why, again, we need the church, and we need strong churches in every community so that we can get back to really teaching young people and training them up in the way that they should go. I was at the hospital early this morning, and what caught my attention, I actually took a picture of it, but they actually have barricades up along the fire lanes and along the driveway. And don't hit my mind, we have passed a time where just lines, people would respect the lines that says no parking. Now we actually have to put up metal barricades just to keep people to abide by the law. And those are the times that we're living in.
Real quickly, let people know when the conference is and how they can get in touch if they want to participate.
Look, it's happening this Friday and Saturday. Friday, May 17th, Saturday, May 18th is at our South Campus, 7200 S1E Road. They can always go out there on our website, brownbaptist.org, or they can text security to 27636. There is a cost to it, but we pray that people would take advantage, churches would take advantage and send teams to this conference so that all of us can prepare and be safe.
Reverend Dr. Bartholomew Orr, thank you so much, Senior Pastor of Brown Baptist Church. Thank you so much for everything you do for the community and especially for this conference. And you stay safe.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Chip.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that puts a wrap on this broadcast on this Monday night as Brent plays us out. Thank all my guests for taking some time out of their schedules to show up and be with us this evening. Thank you for taking some time to check out this broadcast. If you missed it, you can either do one or two things. You can go to my Facebook page where we live stream it. You can view it there, or we're a podcast, so you can go wherever it is you get your podcast in the next day or two after it's posted and listen to the show in its entirety. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you, Reverend Dr. Bishop Jonathan Jamal McReynolds. He's a great show. That's my pastor. Proud of him as well.